agreement, Region 2 licenses you can use them virtually any place except North Korea.
Okay.
Okay? That's the only country. So, for example, I'm Cuban. I'm of Cuban descent. I was born here in the United States, but my heritage is Cuban. And years ago, before they relaxed the embargo, I would talk to Cuba all the time because their phone system is awful. No problem. No issue. Just don't say anything in code.
With that in mind, you could not talk in Spanish. So what happens to when you're speaking to a country that's a different language?
Yeah, so that question was asked last week. So you can't things, so you have to speak in English, especially in those days when the embargo was a little bit heavier monitored. You wanted to speak in English, but everybody kind of pretty much can speak in English, so it isn't usually a problem. I certainly wouldn't speak Spanish on a ham frequency band, although I'm
And they don't have to speak in Spanish since they're in a Spanish-speaking country?
They'll talk to you in English. As soon as they know that it's an American station, they will speak to you in English. The only ones that
in English is only for us?
Excuse me?
So this language of the country is only for us in America?
Not really. I've seen, for example, I do a lot of ham work in South America, and Brazilian is not the same as Spanish. People think it is. It isn't. So I don't understand somebody from Brazil. So
yeah, Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese, right.
But
English.
Like, for example, I heard like for extra license, you'll get some privileges where you can operate in Europe.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would suggest general. You don't need to go up to extra if you don't want to. As soon as you hit the general class, then you have pretty much all the frequencies in Europe. Yes, absolutely. And it's a blast. It's awesome. So a quick story before we start. So my wife and I were married 40 years last year, and I wanted to take her on a very romantic vacation. And we went to England, and then what's the most romantic city in the world? It's Paris, right? So I don't know anybody in Paris. I'm from Long Island. What do I know, right? So I got on the radio, and I called a French station, and sure enough, I got a hold of a French ham radio operator. Thank you, Larry. And I said, well, what's the best hotel to stay? We want to stay near the Eiffel Tower, and what's romantic, and this and that. And the guy really helped me out. Super nice guy. I spoke to him in English, and his English wasn't the best, but we got the message across. So it was very, very cool. Also, it was our first trip to England. And English stations, they're the best. They are just awesome. They're just great people. I haven't met anybody in any country that's a ham radio operator who wasn't awesome. Just wasn't great. It's a different culture completely, ham radio. So we're New Yorkers, right? So New Yorkers, we don't have time for anything. We got a couple of guys from New York here, up in the Bronx, and so that's the way we're raised here in New York. We're always in a hurry, get out of my way, that kind of stuff. But when you talk on the radio, completely different culture. Whatever you need, they're out to help you. We help each other. It's really amazing, and that's why I really, really enjoy this. It's really very nice people. Anyway, so I wanted to show you this capacitor here that someone sent in for me, and so capacitors are used in a lot of different things, so you want to be careful. You see this guy strapped to the side of something. My suggestion is don't put your tongue on there, okay? And don't touch it with your finger, okay? This one will smart. This one will hurt you. And Anthony was saying he used to work on super capacitors, super caps. Those will easily kill you. This might easily kill you depending on its charge rate. So
I just
again,
need a picture of those super caps, Joe.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see it.
I just sent it.
Yeah, so you want to be careful with this stuff. It'll really, really hurt you, and I want you to be around for a long time. I want to talk to all of you guys on the air. So I stress that very much so because out of my own stupidity, I've made mistakes. And let's see. Yeah, that's your station. I saw that one. Yep, I got more. Super caps. Here we go. Let's take a look at Anthony super caps. Yeah, these guys will easily melt you. Okay, no problem. They will hurt you big time. And as Anthony pointed out, he's the expert on this. He tells me that they are full with cyanide. Is that correct, Anthony?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
How tall is that? About how tall is
That's
that?
about 6 inches tall.
Yeah, they're not very big. Well, look
No,
at the
look
staple
at the
gun.
staple gun in the background to give you an idea.
Oh, okay.
I've worked with these before. These will easily kill you. These are the 3000 series supercapacitors.
They'll melt that aluminum bus bar in a split second.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're not very big, 6 inches. Measure it right now with your hand. 6 inches is about as far as you can put your finger, roughly, your thumb and your first finger. So it's not very big. They'll kill you. No problem.
That there is about a 16-bolt setup.
Yeah.
You can replace a car battery with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So don't say we didn't tell you, okay, folks? All right, cool. I wanted to answer some questions. I'm going to go to the mailbag here. So you guys sent a lot of emails, so I want to just answer some of these. Give me a second here, and we'll handle the questions. The question I get asked most commonly by new hams is, what radio should I buy? Okay, so the answer to that is, I'm going to pick on somebody like, hey, Robert, how are you? How are you this evening?
I just walked in from shoveling, and I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm tired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we'll give you a break, but I want to answer your question, Robert.
Yes.
So, well, actually, Robert, you're not a good choice because you live
Why
near
not?
me.
I did.
You live near me. You know what the conditions are here.
I could answer your question, though.
So, all right. So, Robert, we just meet on the street, and I go, hey, Robert. And that's all you know about me, right? So, hey, Robert, what kind of car should I buy?
Anything but a Volkswagen. I'm a GM guy.
Okay, but what, should I buy a passenger car? Should I buy an SUV? Should I buy a truck?
Well, I'm going to ask you what are you going to use it for?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. That's my answer to the question, what radio should I buy? It depends on what you're going to use it for, folks. I can't give everybody the same answer, okay?
Absolutely.
So just like everybody doesn't know what kind of car I need for my particular conditions and needs, the same applies for the radio, okay? I hope I answered that question. I'm not trying to evade the question. It depends on where you live and what you're trying to do. How, you want to stay on 2 meters. Are you going to go for your general license and you want to talk to Europe? These are all things, I need to consider before I can make a suggestion to you. Okay.
What else, Joe? What else we can have like an application besides talking with the technical license?
With the Baofeng, you can do all of it. You can do digital modes with Baofeng, no problem. I'm going to have a setup for you with the Baofeng on digital modes for next class. You can also do software-defined radio. I promised I would do that for you for next class. You can see what that's like. You can do that on 2 meters. And under the right conditions, you can talk to a lot of people on 2 meters, So if you're going to go for your general class, if you're going to take the general exam after this, which is I recommend you do, then, buy something where you're just in, and you can get something, really, really nice for not too much money. So anyway, a question I had here was from Kenneth. So Ken says, looking at the hardware radios, what's the advantage or disadvantage of having a dual band radio over a single band? Do you have to, as a ham, decide which band you'll be most listening or talking to, or based on where you live? So radios, like the Baofeng, are dual band, okay? Are they truly dual band? Not really. So for example, if you want to talk to the International Space Station, or you're going to do satellite work, I would recommend a dual band. Why? Because you transmit on 2 meters and you receive on 70 centimeters, or the other way around. Sometimes you'll transmit on 70 centimeters and you'll receive on 2 meter. So having a dual band radio that can transmit and receive on 2 bands at the same time is a good idea. If you're looking for precision, okay, and you're in a populated area such as New York, for example, and you only want to do, very specific type of work, then a single band has better linearity. What does that mean? It has, it'll receive a little bit better, a little bit. I'm not talking about a lot. I'm talking about a little bit. You'll transmit a little bit more efficiently on a single band radio. Is it worth it? Not for me. Not for me, because I'm pretty close to my club's repeater. I have no problem making it with a dual band, and you don't gain that much. Okay, so I wouldn't single band. Yeah, I don't know that it's worth the effort, and that's in my opinion. Okay, so dual band I think is the way to go, and it's a good choice. And then Joyce sent me a question, and the question was, I live in Shelby, Ohio. Where do I find an exam center? So if you go to the ARRL website, okay, and we'll go there right now together. And you go under the same place you found this class, which is licensing, okay, you can find, they'll show you, there is a place where you can take, let's see, they're getting licensed, right? All right, hold on. And then find the class right here where it says, I'll try to make this bigger, sorry guys. So right here, it says find an exam session, and just click on it. It's going to ask you for your zip code, okay? So if you guys live on Long Island, there's a VE session happening this Sunday, and I'll be one of the VE examiners, okay? We're going to talk about Hamfests today, and you'll search, and hopefully you find it. Yeah. So this is the one. There's a whole bunch of them here. And this is mine, and this is where I'll be on Sunday, okay? But it'll give you a list of all the places you can take the exam, okay? So just go to the ARRL, find an exam session, and they're given quite frequently, okay? That's the answer to that question. All right, any other questions that may be rattling around there that I didn't answer? I wanted to go over 2 more things. Somebody had sent me a question, but if you think of a question, please let me know in the meantime.
Joe?
Yes.
Hi, it's Robin.
Hiya, Robin.
Hi.
What's up?
Well, something's rolling around in my brain about the 5 meter versus 70 centimeter.
2 meter.
2 meter, 2 meter, 2 meter.
2
Yeah.
meter versus 70 centimeters. And it's rolling around as, it's like 1 AM, 1 FM. I guess I'm not clear on the difference in the bands.
Yeah, they're both FM, okay?
Okay.
What they are isn't just different frequencies. So 2 meters starts at 144 megahertz, 144.000, and 70 centimeter starts at 440 and higher normally. They have advantages and disadvantages, okay? The higher the frequency is, okay, so the higher the number, the first 3 digits of the number, the more penetration power it has, okay? So if I wanted to talk inside of a building, 70 centimeter would make more sense to me. The waves are shorter, okay, and but they penetrate through office buildings and that kind of stuff. But their range is smaller, okay? So their effective range is a little bit shorter than 2 meter. 2 meter you can reach a little further, okay? And I'm talking generality, but it doesn't penetrate buildings well. So where I work, I'm in the 3rd floor of an office building. I can't really hear anything on 2 meters at my desk. So I will use a 440 repeater, a 70 centimeter repeater. No problem, I get through.
I got
So,
you. Okay.
yeah, so each frequency has its own advantages, right? So who do you want? Again, it's hard to tell you what they all do. So like 40 meters, you can talk to the world. That's the most popular one. Everybody's on 40 meters, okay? And you do have privileges on 40 meters. 30 meters, Robin, what do you know about 30 meters?
It's a 90-foot antenna.
I'm sorry? What? Yeah, all right, well, that's good, but what is the no-no? What is the no-no on...
Oh.
It's phone you don't talk on.
What?
You do not talk on it. It's for phones.
Oh, it's phones? Okay, my husband says it's for phones. Joe says it's for
No
phones.
phones. No phones. No
Okay.
phone. No phone on 30 meters. Okay.
Okay.
Right? The reason I stress that is because it will be a question on the exam. So just remember, they'll ask you, which one can't you talk on? And the answer is 30 meters. So I hope I answered that question for you. Did I? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, you did. You did. It's just like there's so much to take in. Like, I don't really want to build my own ham radio right now. And I feel like you've given me the instructions to do that, even though I'm not really wanting to do that. I just want to operate my little, Bayafong radio and figure out how to talk, and I still don't know that I'm ready for that.
Okay. Well, let's find out. Okay, Robin?
Okay.
All right. Let's find out right now. Okay, hold on. We're going to call my buddy Mark. Okay? And you're going to tell me exactly what to say, and I'm going to say exactly what you tell me to say.
Oh,
and if it's not right, he's going to yell at both of us, okay?
Oh,
So,
God. I'm not ready.
No, really. This is good. No, you're going to like this. No, seriously. It's going to be great. Actually, we're not going to talk to Mark, because I think I blew something up here. Hold on.
Name. And then your
Stay with you guys. What do you mean that's cheating? What is she doing? Is she cheating?
She's got somebody whispering in her ear.
No,
Yes,
no,
my
don't
husband.
do
He's
that.
taking it, too.
No.
We're both taking it.
Don't do that. That
Doesn't
is
get any
cheating.
easier with two people, let me tell you.
No.
I'll leave the room.
No, get back here.
No. We're not going to do that, because that is
No, we're just teasing.
Hey, he takes the best notes. I just listen. He takes good notes.
Yeah. Hold on. All right. Come on. Now, my radio's giving me all sorts of grief here today. Hold on. All right, you know what we're going to do? Tell you what we're going to do.
Skip
We're
it.
going to switch to... No, we're not going to skip it. Hold on. No, you asked the question, so now you're in the hot seat. Okay.
Channel mode.
Hold on.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Hold on.
6, 8.
And of course, that one doesn't work. Hold on. You know what the problem is? Too many radios, folks. That's what my problem is. Hold on. We're going to switch, and we're going to talk to my buddy Mark, and you're going to tell me exactly what to say, and I'm going to do that. Come on. Where is Mark? Oh, okay. All right. Robin.
Yes.
Okay. You remember Mark, right? We talked to him a bunch of times, right?
Yeah, we did.
All right. Cool. All right. I'm tuned into his frequency. What do I say?
You say,
Oh, by the way, it's not. That wasn't fair. His call sign is N2FLF. November 2, Foxtrot, Lima, Foxtrot.
right.
What am I going to? All right. So what am I going to say?
CW.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's on a repeater.
CQ,
so we never
CQ,
use,
yeah, CQ, CQ,
no,
CQ.
we don't use CW. CW is just a term for Morse code, and we never use CQ when we're on a repeater.
Oh.
That's only when you're not on a repeater. So what am I going to say?
His call sign.
You're going to say his call sign, which
Yes.
was N2FLF.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And then
And
what am I going to say?
your call sign, W2P.
Right. That's it. You got it. See, no problem. Hold on. Let me switch to the living room here because I'm a little handy-talky here. So let's give that a shot. Okay. Hold on.
So you're calling him.
N2FLF, W2VMP.
Yeah.
This is N2FLF repeater.
N2FLF, Whiskey 2, Bravo Mike Papa. Let's see if he's home. He may be buried under the snow.
7:48 p.m.
N2FLF, Whiskey 2, Bravo Mike Papa. Are you there, Mark?
It's an answer machine.
No, actually that's APRS.
Oh.
All right, well, he's not answering, but I'll leave this on in case he does answer us. I'll try him in a couple of minutes. But that's exactly correct, Robin. What you just told me to do is exactly correct. So that's how you get on your little Baofeng, and that's how you talk to the world. Exactly the right way. If you're on repeater, if you're on the repeater, if you want to talk to anybody, then CQ, 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 3 CQs, and your call sign is the correct procedure.
Okay.
Okay? See, no biggie. No worries. That was easy. All right. I wanted to just go over, I had a question on, hold on. Man, do I hate this, new interface. I had a question on, somebody asked me a question, and I'm sorry that I have to write here on my desktop, so I apologize. But it's a nice scene, so everybody's going to enjoy it anyway. Hold on, let me get rid of my doodling here. Okay, so somebody asked me, and they said, hold on, now I got to switch to this thing. That's not right. Geez Louise. Okay, so somebody asked me, and they said, hey, Joe, if you start at 100 watts, right, how can you, this is what the manual says, right? Our manual says that our radio does 100 watts. How can you have more than 100 watts on the top here? This is for that dB thing, right? And the answer is, what you do is you walk around your radio, what they did in the factory, and they measured when you hit the transmit button that it was putting out 100 watts with the average antenna, okay? So you could have an amplifier in between your transmitter and the antenna. That would increase power, okay? Or you could have a little bit nicer antenna than the one that they use in the factory, and that's how you could end up with 105 on top, for example, which is exactly what happens here.
All those are perfect conditions for transmission, right? The ambient
correct. We're only talking about transmission. That's correct, sir. So I measured in the radio that I use and I demonstrate for you guys. I measure 105 watts using a watt meter. So my question is, that's how I ended up with more than they said. Okay. So another example of that is I bought the new little Baofeng, the 8-watt Baofeng, and they say that it's rated for 8 watts, but it's not. The most it puts out is 7 watts. And that's with the standard antenna, okay? So I put out 7 watts. Of course, being who I am, I didn't use that antenna, right? So I hooked it up to this really beautiful, custom-made 2-meter dipole that I made just to experiment. And I was able to get 9 watts out of it. So the question is, what is the dB gain here? Does anybody remember how to do that? Do I hear a volunteer?
9 divided by 7.
1.09.
Right. And then you hit the log button?
Log button.
Yeah.
Times 10.
Times 10.
Times
and then whatever.
1.09.
Okay. So my dB gain was 1.09, you said?
10.9. 10.
Sorry. No, it can't be 10.9.
1.09.
1.09. Hold on. I'm going to check it. Let's see if you guys are right. Let's see if you guys are right. So I took 9 and I divided it by 7, and that gave me a whole bunch of stuff. Hold on. 9 divided by 7 equals, then I hit the log button, and that's what I get, 1.09. How about this top one, where this is really happening. So this radio's rated at 100 watts, and because of my antenna improvements, I had 105. What do you guys get? What is the dB gain here?
0.21.
Yeah.
0.21, yeah.
Yeah.
0.21.
Okay, so you guys can do stuff that a lot of extras can't do. So there. Okay, that'll teach them. So that's great. So I wanted you to understand that sometimes you can exceed. Remember that the formula is the measured. I wish I had an empty space here. The new drawing tools don't work with anything. It's only on your desktop that they work. So again, remember that it is the reference power, whatever the manual says, and on top is what you measured it with. Normally a watt meter, okay, or an RF meter or some other device. So it's 10 times the log 10 of the reference power over the measured power. So next time you're having a party, just whip out this formula, and then people will stop talking to you. Okay, good. So we're good with that.
Hey, Joe, if you open up just a text pad, right-click New Text Document, then you'll have something white for your background.
Okay. Let me. It didn't work for me last time. Let me try that. Are you good at this stuff? At this with this new interface? I don't.
I haven't used it at all. I'm just guessing if it's on your background that.
Let's see if you're right. You'd save my life. You'll be my hero of the day. All right. So you want me to go to New Text Document, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just so you
have. The problem with this is I don't know that it works here. Hold on. Let's see.
You're saying it has to be on your desktop and it won't write on anything else?
I don't know. There is a setting that will allow you. Tony said something to me. I didn't see it quite yet. Hold on. There is a setting that will allow you to write on any surface. No kidding. Hold on. Maybe that's preferences. Let's try that. Preferences. Recording integration connection. Oh, you I didn't see it. Let me try this. Okay. See if this works. You made my day.
It probably won't work.
Well, let's try. Never say never. Okay. Yeah. See, the problem is it doesn't turn into a pen.
Yeah, it gives priority to the text pad.
Yeah. Let me just check real quick because I want to go over some math and stuff, and I just want to make sure. Choose pen color. I don't know. Feedback. Options. Hold on. No, I don't know. We'll have to suffer with my background here. Let's take the
background to a solid color, Joe.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. But then I'll never find this. I'll never find the screensaver again. You know that, right?
Yeah.
My wife loves this. We'll change it. Let's see here. Personalize. That's what we want, right? So we want. All right. Let's change that. Did I lose you guys?
No.
All right. Cool. So. All right. Robin, I'm going to try Mark one more time. N2FLF, Whiskey 2, Bravo, Mike Papa. No. Okay, sorry. We'll try him a little bit later.
Joe, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How come you use the phonetic alphabet for your call sign but not for his?
Because I'm trying to get you guys to use phonetics. So I say it non-phonetic first, and then I say it phonetic, because I want you to know it phonetically, and I'm trying to subconsciously get you that way.
Okay.
That's the reason. Because you should use phonetics. All right. All right. So let's continue on here with our very beautiful manual here, and it gets a little bit more interesting. We left off here, Part 15 rules. And what I want you to know about Part 15 rules, Part 15 rules applies to those radios you can buy in Walmart or Target or, that kind of stuff, the ones you don't need licenses for, and they're covered under Part 15. They operate in the milliwatt range, okay, and at best, downhill with the wind, they may be a mile, maybe, and that's on a really good day, probably half a mile. They are good if you're in a big hall or something and you want to be able to talk to, people that are fairly within eyesight of each other, but they're far away. And they're covered under Part 15 rules. You don't need any license for them. But again, the radiated power is very, very small. Okay? RF grounding. Okay. What you need to know about grounding for the exam. Whenever they ask you for a question on the exam, and there will be 2 questions on the exam, the answer is either avoid a sharp bend on a ground, or the other possible answer is a common ground. Okay? Always. Those are the only questions that they ask you. Okay? So you'll see one of them here. Common ground bus. So what they're trying to tell you is whatever you plug in, whatever ham radio equipment you plug in, you want them all going to the same ground. It could be the same outlet in your house. However you ground it, depending on what you do, they should all share the common ground. And that's so in case of lightning or another electromagnetic force that hits it, static, buildup, whatever, it's more likely to pass through the equipment without damaging it if the negative ground potential is the same. That's a fancy word for if they're all grounded the same way. If you have one thing grounded in one plug and another thing grounded in another plug, you have a greater tendency to damage your equipment during an electrical storm or some other electrical interference. Okay? So remember, common ground. And then when the ground goes here, right, you want to avoid any sharp turns. Okay? Very important. You want to avoid any sharp turns at all. Ground doesn't like that.
Joe.
Yeah. Yes.
In my practice tests on the internet, I came across another one that said something about an 8-foot ground for all of the legs of the antenna should be connected to it.
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. Shouldn't be soldered, and the ground should be 8 feet. Again, we have a lot of people in this class, so some of you have the luxury. Who's our buddy up in Montana? Where is he? Is he on?
That's Dave in Wyoming.
Hey, Dave, Wyoming, excuse me, I'm sorry. Now, Dave, he has the luxury. He could probably build a tower on his property, okay? If I did that here in New York, they'd call those guys in the coat, give me a custom-fitted coat. But he could probably get away with that. Now, for him, yes, then I would suggest that 8-foot buried ground, because he would attract more lightning than I do in my house. So, anyway, okay. So they talk about the ground here. Very important, common ground. Okay, and you want to keep the connections shorter than 8 feet, 8 to 10 feet. Why? Because if you exceed that length on a ground, it starts to act like an antenna. Okay, so the ground itself starts to act as an antenna. That's if you have a specific ground for your ham radio equipment, which not a lot of people do. Okay, let's move on here. We finished Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Contact Basics. You guys know this already, okay? So I'll prove to you that you guys know this, right? So let's pick on, Jessica. Hiya, Jessica. Can you talk to me today, or is your mic working, or? If she's typing to me, then her mic.
Hey.
Hiya.
Can you hear me?
How are you? Yeah, I can hear you fine. So, Jessica, I'm going to switch over to...
I think it's delayed a little bit.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry, wait.
The mic is delayed a little bit.
All right, that's okay. So, Jessica, we're going to go on 20 meters, right? And I'm going to adjust the frequency. We're going to talk to somebody.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm going to say exactly what you tell me to say, and I don't want to look stupid here, okay? So, you're on the hot seat. Okay. So we're going to tune here. Okay. Jessica, you're on. I'm going to say whatever you tell me to say. I want to talk to anybody who'll talk to me. What am I going to say?
CQ. CQ, CQ, CQ.
Yeah, what else after that? Any clue?
Your call sign?
Yeah. Yeah, let's see if we can get somebody. I'll tell them it's you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. CQ, CQ, CQ. Whiskey 2. Bravo, Mike, Papa. CQ, CQ, CQ. And I'll do that 3 times, okay? CQ, CQ, CQ. Whiskey 2. Bravo, Mike, Papa. CQ, CQ, CQ. Whiskey 2. Bravo, Mike, Papa. Okay, I didn't expect to get anybody. My antenna's under about 7 feet of snow, so I'm not really expecting to talk to anybody too much. But if I wanted to talk to a repeater, Jessica, and I wanted to talk to my friend Mark, N2FLF, what would I say? I only want to talk to him.
N2FW2BMP.
Right, so it would be his call sign followed by my call sign. That's exactly correct. So knowing this information, you basically know everything about communicating with other people, right? And that's it, okay? And here is, somebody had just asked me this question. This is the phonetic alphabet. You will need to know this, not for the exam. You don't need to know this for the exam. I certainly expect you to know your call sign when you get it phonetically, okay? And the reason for this, especially on HF, on high frequency, and you're not, or simplex where you're not using a repeater, sometimes the signal gets a little fuzzy and it's hard to understand. So this is why we use phonetics, okay? So not too hard. My suggestion is learn your call sign phonetically, and the rest of them will come to you pretty quickly, all by themselves. Don't stress over this, okay? Please don't stress. It is not on the exam, okay? That was very good, Jessica. Thank you. Okay, this is the RST system, and what we do is we report to each other how we're doing from signal, on signal strength, okay? And the first number, readability, how perfect can I hear you? Okay, and signal strength is the next number, okay? And ham radio people, I told you, are the nicest people in the world. They don't want you to feel bad, so they'll always report your signal strength as 5 by 9. What does that mean? You're perfectly readable, and you have an extremely strong signal. Only if they're your friend and they really want you to sound good will they tell you anything differently, okay? A couple of pages down, you'll see there's a big thing about contesting, right? So you can get on the air and you can talk to all these people in a contest. Boring, really boring as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I don't do contesting. I don't think that that's communicating. So what they want to do is they want to talk to as many people as quickly as humanly possible, okay? To me, I don't find that at all fun. So what they do is, again, they want to talk to as many people as possible. You'll get on, they'll say CQ, 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 and then their call sign. And then you'll say, Whiskey 2, Bravo, Mike, Papa, and they'll say, okay, I read you 5 by 9, you're number 63, which means you're his 63 or her 63rd contact, you're perfectly readable with a strong signal. Don't go by whatever they say in contests because they lie. Okay, they just want you to move on to the next thing. Okay, so these are the signals we go by. Okay, and these are called the signal reports, that kind of stuff. The tone is very rarely, if at all, used anymore. I can't remember the last time anybody used a tone code, but if they did, they would say, 5 by 9 by 9. Which means perfect tone, no, you're doing great, okay? And ham radio people, amateur radio people always want to produce the best signal possible. Joyce, how are you, Joyce? Joyce is looking for the mute button. All right, I don't hear Joyce. How about, yep, I hear somebody coming. How about Judy? Judy, how are you? Oh, Joyce came on. She doesn't have audio, but so you're off the hot seat, Judy, for a little bit. Joyce, I have a question. What does QRP mean? I'm waiting for her to type. You're a low power guy. That's it. And it's right here, QRP. If you get that wrong on the exam, you never heard of me, okay? You heard some rumor about this guy who gave these classes, but you never had a class with him. So QRP, I expect you to just get that done. Andy, how are you, Andy?
What's going on, Joe?
Andy, tell me about QTH. What does that mean?
Home location, sir.
You're the best. You are the best. Frank Jameson. How are you, Frank?
He's on. He's in California where it's quite nice and sunny and warm, by the way.
Is he? Yeah. I hate that.
I know.
That'll really piss me. You know, he shouldn't really bring that up at this class at this moment.
Now you can ask me a really miserable question.
Okay. No, you did good.
Sock it to him, Joe. Sock it to him.
If I were going to change polar coordinates to rectangular coordinates, what would be the formula for that? No, I'm only kidding. My question, you know what QTM means?
It has something to do with interference.
That's right. That's right. And do you know what the M stands for?
The M.
M as in Mary, what the M stands for?
Well, it stands for not necessarily electronic interference, I guess.
That's right. You're exactly correct. Excellent job. So QTM, so the ones I want you to know are, okay, and I want you to know these for a reason, and you can guess what the reason is, right? Because they're on the exam, right?
Yep.
So I want you to know, where is my, oh, here it is. QRP. I want you to know what that is. I want you to know what QRM is. That's man-made interference. Okay? And I want you to know what QRP is. Low power. All right? Know these. Okay? All right. We're going to go through this. Frank Lucero, how are you, Frank?
I'm good, Joe. Thank you. How are you?
Excellent, sir. Thank you. If I have a 3 dB gain, what did that do to the power?
Doubled it.
That's it. You're the man. Thank you so much. 2 times the power. Greg O'Neill, 6 dB gain. What did that do?
That is quadruple the power.
You guys are the best.
Or a double them.
Yep, you're the best. And Heath, you there, Heath?
Hi, Joe.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. 10 dB?
10x.
And you're the best. You guys are awesome. All right. So this stuff, I didn't write this because I needed to remember it, okay? I need you to know this stuff. Seriously. Okay? Very important. I don't want you to get stuck on these questions. I want you to just pum, pum, pum. Okay? QRP. I did that twice, didn't I? Low power.
Yeah, hey, Joe, is QTH supposed to be on that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. Thank you. I did bad. QTH, home. Okay? Yes, you're right. Thank you so much. QTH is home. Very important, folks. Okay? All right. You did awesome. Anybody have any problem with this? No? Yes? Good? We're good? All right. So these I just want you to blindly memorize. I don't like telling you to blindly memorize anything, okay? But these I want you to know so you don't stress over the exam. They'll come up, bango, you know them, you're out of there, okay? Move on to the next question. All right, appropriate topics. Guys, this is one gigantic party line, okay? One gigantic party line. At my radio, at my club, everything that you say is recorded and put onto created a file, okay? Actually, all of the repeaters on the planet Earth are recorded or monitored or both, okay? Please, you understand what I'm going to say, right? Don't give out your Social Security number. Don't give out any personal information. common sense, guys. One big party line. You never know who's listening. They say it here. You never know who might be listening. Don't. It's like Facebook, right? Never post on Facebook you're going on vacation. Your house will get robbed. So same thing here. Let's be clear here, okay? Signing off, okay? If you ever say 73s with an S, you never heard of me, okay? Don't even know who I am. The name doesn't even sound familiar. It's 73 or 73, but I like 73 better, okay? So you always want to say W2BMP 73, we're done, or W2BMP 73, have a good day. So you just want to end the conversation. That's it. That's as hard as it gets. And that applies for repeaters, simplex, HF. You want to be courteous. Okay? So here they have the Q signals. I did forget one other one. This QRN. Okay? So the N stands for natural. Okay? A natural problem. M stands for a man-made problem. That's the easy way to understand, to remember those two. So if you have QRN, it's just static. You might have an electrical storm. And if it's M, you got some bozo causing problems on the air. Okay? The rest of these, you don't need to worry too much about. I think on one test, there is this one, QRS, which means send slower. Okay? They will all have QRP, the possibility of QRP, QTH. Those are there. One exam out of 5 has QRS, send more slowly. Okay? That's what you need to know for the Q signals. And why do we have these Q signals? They come from the Morse code days from Western Union, because there aren't that many words that start with the letter Q. So when the operator heard a Q in Morse code, it was an abbreviation. Okay? All right. Greg O'Neill says modulation. I didn't get that one. He wrote me a note that says modulation.
That was the answer to QRM. What does M stand for?
All right, modulation. I'll take that if that's easier for you. I like that one too. QRM modulation. I like man-made. I remember it easier that way as opposed to the natural one, but modulation is fine. Okay, cool. So they explain about the Q signals, blah, 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 blah. And very popular. You'll hear ham radio guys. I will be clear on your final. So this is W2BMP. Have a good day. I'll be clear on your final, which means you're expecting an answer back from whoever you're talking to, and you're not going to respond to whatever that person says. Let's try Mark again, because Robin is dying to talk to Mark. Hold on. Let's try him again. Robin, I forget. How do I call him again?
Here, I'm writing all my notes.
I made you laugh, though. I made you laugh. I made you laugh.
I know, and I'm taking all these great notes, so I'm going to call Mark at his call sign. I'm going to use your call sign.
Right, and then what are you going to do? So we're going to say N2FLF. What am I going to say after that?
W2BMP.
That's it. You got it, Robin. N2FLF, Whiskey 2, Bravo, Mike, Papa. He's out shoveling snow.
8:17 p.m. Go ahead, BMP.
Is this Mark? It doesn't sound like Mark.
No, Joe, it's DPD. But I heard you, so I thought I don't know where Mark is. So I just thought that communication needed help.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Actually, I'm teaching a class, and I have this young lady who's in my class who wanted to talk to Mark, but she'll definitely talk to Jerry. Her name is Robin, so she wanted to know if you were doing okay in the snow there, Jerry.
Well, good evening, Robin. Yes, I'm doing okay in the snow. I am probably doing as well as everyone else is, and I live in Elmont, Robin. Echo Lima Mike Oscar November Tango, slightly east of Belmont Racetrack. And Robin, I hope you enjoy the hobby.
All right, hang in there for 1 second. She's going to sign off. She's going to tell me how to sign off. So I'm going to say whatever she says, Jerry. So hang in there for 1 second. Robin, you're on. We're done with them. So what are we going to say?
I'm going to say 73. It's really nice talking to you. And I shoveled out ice on my driveway yesterday. But again, 73.
Okay, or you could say I'll be clear on your final.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Jerry, so Robin says it was very nice talking to you, 7-3. She did not say 73s, by the way. She said 7-3, and she said she was shoveling ice in her driveway yesterday, and she hopes you have a wonderful day. She will be clear on your final.
Clear on your final.
7-3, Robin, and I'm glad you didn't say 7-3s, because 7-3 is the proper way of saying it. 7-3, Robin. Enjoy the weekend. Joe, 7-3 to you, and you enjoy the weekend. KB2 doing permanent damage is clear.
Roger that. Have a good day, my friend. Thank you for the help. Whiskey 2 Bravo, Mike Papa, we're clear.
What?
Okay, Robin, no problem. You got it.
Well, I that was fun, Joe. That was really cool.
Yeah, see, no problem. Okay.
So 7-3 is not 73.
No,
You
73.
can say 73 or 7-3. There's no S at the end. That's what differentiates the professionals from the guys who have no idea what they're doing. Okay.
Okay.
So you can tell a 73s person right away. They go down 2 notches in my book. Okay. So really, and when I teach the class, I want you to, this isn't just learning about the textbook and passing the exam. I want you to get out there, and I want you to get the respect that you deserve. So you say 7-3 or 73 to a seasoned ham. Whoa, hey, she knows how to say it. That moves you up, on the list. So you did great. Congratulations. That was your first QSO, and you did awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So anyway, so if you look at 73, that's the official one, and only our YLs, our young ladies in the group, are allowed to use 88. Okay, 88 means love and kisses, and if ladies in our group, if you say 88, you will immediately get flooded with 50,000 men wanting to talk to you. Okay, so you have been put on notice. Okay, there aren't as many female hams as there are male hams. If they hear a young lady on the radio, they're going to trip over themselves because that's just the way we are as men. And if you certainly say 88 to somebody, you have their attention. Okay, so use that 88. My suggestion is use that 88 very sparingly. Okay, so and gentlemen, don't ever mistake the two, okay? All right, just a word of caution. Okay, so that's it. So that's really all you need to know about this stuff. It's pretty easy. You're allowed to work on your radio. If you're going to you can ask for a radio check, okay? And let's see if I can get a radio check going for you. I'll show you what that sounds like. And we're going to pick on somebody else. Who haven't we picked on today? We haven't picked on... hey, John, you with us tonight, John? John is my ringer. I don't see his microphone active, but I think John is with us. Joyce? No, I think we had Joyce. Judy was the person we didn't pick on tonight, right, Judy? We didn't pick on you?
That's right.
All right, guess who's up next, though? You. Okay. So Judy,
it's me.
Yeah, I want to know that my radio works, right? So what am I going to do? So I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I'm going to be on a repeater. So how would I ask for a radio check?
You give your call sign and you say, I need a radio check, please.
That's perfect. You got it, Judy. That's the best. So let's give that a try. Whiskey 2, Bravo Mike, Papa, looking for a radio check? Whiskey 2, Bravo Mike, Papa, looking for a radio check, please. Everybody's probably home and under the covers here and goes around. One more time, I'll try it. Whiskey 2, Bravo Mike Papa. Radio check, please. Okay, nobody answered, but that's the exact correct procedure, okay? So if you want to test your radio, you wait to make sure that nobody's talking, and you just say your call sign when you're not calling somebody specifically, and the radio check. And Jessica Bowman and Tiffany Gardner, or apparently to attract the fellas. Yeah, with a little wink thing. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Okay. Noting violations, if people are violating the rules, or you have a jammer or something, you report it to the owner of the repeater, to the club that owns the repeater, okay? The FCC has been very lax in the last few years to crack down on people that use the radios illegally. That has changed dramatically, okay? So if somebody's being offensive or whatever, certainly report it to the station operator, to the repeater operator, okay? This is important here, this noting and logging contacts when you go to HF. It's not used on 2 meter or 70 centimeter because you're always on there, okay? But if you get a good contact, let's say in a foreign country such as Paris or Germany or whatever, you want to log them. Logging is not required by law, but it's cool to keep, okay, to prove that you did it. I have one entry that I'm extremely proud of. It's in my logbook. It has to do with Greece. I spoke to somebody on Crete, on the island of Crete, on 1 watt, okay, from here on Long Island. So that one I logged immediately. And what you do is when you confirm these contacts, they send you these little cards, okay, all over the place. Next time I'll have the camera hooked up. I have tons of these, and they're cool to collect. We used to send them by mail, not used anymore. Now we have Logbook of the World, which is free, and a couple of other services. They show up in your email. You can print them, which is pretty cool, and you can keep a record and prove who you spoke to. Okay, very important for you to know this. Okay, I'm a QRP guy, and I'm on HF. And Judy, where are you located?
I'm down around Dallas-Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth.
Texas.
Awesome. Thank you. So the reason I wanted to know that was, so I get on a radio that I just built, and I'm going to go on half a watt, okay, half a watt, and I'm going to want to talk to Judy, okay, on HF, on 40 meters. If Judy is on 40 meters and she's not supposed to be there, okay, and she's talking to me, I don't know that she's doesn't have a general license. I will record that conversation, but it's like it never existed. Okay? So if you talk illegally on a band and you never know who you're talking to, and if I do all of that work to communicate with Judy and she's in Fort Worth, I'm in Long Island, right, and I do it on half a watt, that rare opportunity I got to speak to her because she's not licensed in that band, the whole conversation didn't occur according to the rules. I can't log that. So I love Judy right now, but if I didn't know Judy, I would be very upset with her. Okay?
How do you know she's not licensed, Joe?
Well, it's the class of license. As soon as I enter it into most logbooks, it'll say invalid QSO, because she wasn't licensed on that particular frequency. Do you understand? So most logbooks automatically look her up. There is a gigantic database, and as soon as you start typing on your computer, it goes out and it checks, and it checks with the FCC and says, okay, Judy has a technician's ticket and was not allowed on this frequency. So my QSO comes back as negative.
Joe?
Okay. Yes.
I understand. Unless you were typing that in the giant database, you wouldn't know, correct?
Correct.
Right. So let me ask you this, because, you know, getting our license here because, you know, you never know what's going to happen with our radios, our cell phones, our computers and whatever. And I don't really have my license yet to be able to broadcast, so I can't really get much frequencies. But what if tomorrow, say tomorrow, before I got my license, shit hit the fan and all communication in my area was down? Would I be able to talk? I couldn't pick up anything outside of like a mile, right?
Well, not really. Not really. Depends on the radio that you're using and the antenna that you're using. Okay. So if you have, I guess you have one of those Baofeng radios.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the 3 rules for antennas?
Altitude, altitude, altitude.
That's it. Altitude, altitude, and somebody helped you, Judy. Altitude, altitude, and altitude. If you went to the top of your house and got on the roof of your house, you would probably get a lot further. If you made a simple dipole and threw it up in a tree, okay, 20 or 30 feet up, you'd get really far. You could easily do 50 miles.
But I'm not legally allowed, of course, to transmit.
She's worried about legalities.
Well,
yeah,
no,
so,
I'm not worried, but I'm thinking, you know, what if it happened and I really need
in an emergency, my suggestion, just so you know, in my former life, I was an attorney, okay, many years ago, so take that for whatever it's worth. In an emergency, you do whatever you need to do to protect yourself, your family, and your property. Yes.
This is Craig up at Boston. I spent 9 years down in New York City. I was at the Twin Towers when they came down. I was a firefighter at that time. We used ham radio just to get through. None of us, not one of us, were certified to use them. We had no clue how to use them. We just did them. That's the only way we could communicate.
First of all, thank you for all you did. Okay, so that's the first thing I need to say. Second of all is I agree with him 100%. Look, it's your family, it's you, your family, your neighbors. That's what this is all about. So here's what you do. If you get any slack in an emergency, real emergency, I will represent you for free. Okay? Not a problem. Okay? I'm sure there'll be no issue.
What would I turn to, Joe, saying I have the Baofeng and it's emergency and I'm not licensed yet. I don't know a whole lot. What would I do with my radio?
Okay. Where do you live?
Lima, Ohio.
Okay. So you're going to go to your web browser and you're going to type in Aries, Ohio. Okay. So which one of these is close to you? Port Clinton. Let's do this one because it's just there, but you can look it up. Okay.
Okay.
So you would go to your Aries facility. Okay. Look up or just go Aries, and they will give you a frequency to tune. In Nassau County, so I have. What county are you in Ohio? Allen County.
Yeah.
County Aries. Let's see if this comes up. Okay, here it is, right here.
No,
so
that's Indiana. That's Indiana. There's Allen County, Indiana. That's not Mike. That's not me.
You said Ohio, right?
Right.
Okay. Is this still Indiana? It's still Indiana.
Yeah.
Aries map. Okay, so Ohio. Racing is right here. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So you would click there, and they'll tell you where they're transmitting. Okay. So you would look on here, and they would tell you their repeaters. Okay.
Oh.
They would tell you their frequency, the offset, okay, plus or minus where they wanted you to be. Races is the one that's licensed by the federal government to operate in an emergency. Not as popular as Aries, but you could go back and look for Aries. Okay, right here. And then you could get frequencies for here, Aries Races by you. So this is you have 2 of them near you. Okay, so this is Skywarn, which is emergency weather. Okay, and then this one will work as well. So you would tune in 146.745. The PL tone is 100, and you would have to find out what their offset is. Okay.
Well, you know, that's all well and good, Joe, but I mean, if I'm in a crisis and I don't even have a computer, how would I know what to do?
Well, you should have these programmed in now. I would program them in now. Find out what they are for you, and I'm going to go over next class how to program your Baofeng on your computer. Pop them in now.
Okay.
Absolutely. And they're only $30. So if you need to have one just set for emergencies, which is what we do here in our house, we have a Baofeng just for emergencies, for emergencies. And we have all of them tuned in. We have the Red Cross. We have, actually, I commend the police department, the sheriff's departments, the fire departments. They are exactly doing what we were just told. They're doing ham radio without, most of them are licensed. I get a lot of fire departments, a lot of sheriff's departments, especially in California and New York. Get those frequencies, pop them in. And if it's an emergency, you do whatever you need to do. That's my advice.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Okay, so getting back to this, they're talking about the band plan here again, okay, and they tell you where things are on 2 meters, okay. Good luck with that, it's right, whatever. It gives you a general feeling for what this is. Bands, these are satellites, okay, and they kind of give you a little roadmap of what things are, okay? And this is the frequency range most commonly used for simplex, no repeater, this guy here. And if shove, okay, you always tune in 146.52. That was a great question. That is the national calling frequency. So when you can't get a hold of any, you put in 146.52, and you have a pretty good chance of talking to somebody. Who? I don't know. But when everything else fails, 146.52 is the national simplex calling frequency. Okay? Not for emergencies. It's used all the time. The ones that are used for emergencies is ARRL and RACES. ARRL first. It's the more popular one. Okay? And they have other repeaters for Red Cross and that kind of stuff. Okay. So, are we good so far? Yes? Okay. I don't mean to lecture you guys, but it's a lot of information that I just need to cover. When we want to exceed more than 50 miles, we ask for DX. DX stands for distance. Okay? So anything above 50 miles from where you're transmitting, so you would call, let's say you're on 40 meters, you'd say CQ, 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 Whiskey 2, Bravo, Mike, Papa, DX. So people are already looking me up on their computers. They know I live on Long Island. I want to talk to somebody further than 50 miles from me. Okay? That's what DX means. There's a whole subculture in ham radio, amateur radio, for DX. Okay? And there's certain frequencies you can go on, and they're only designed for DX, long distance. The official definition is 50 miles. Nowadays, probably over 1,000. Okay? So DX, long distance. All right, we talked about RIDI. I showed you what RIDI and CW and all that stuff was. And then they have these little transmitter things, beacons. They're all over the place on all the bands. And what they are is a 100-watt station. They can't exceed 100 watts. And they're all in different parts of the band, whatever band you are, 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 40 meter, 20 meter, 30 meter. They're all there. And that's so if you can hear them, it means you can probably talk to them. Okay? So the beacons just give you an indication of how far you can reach. And you can look up the beacons in the National Beacon Directory. Okay? So depending on the frequency, let's say 144.350 happens to be a beacon, you can look that up and you can see if you can hear that station may be Rhode Island for me. Okay? So you'll be able to tell that you could talk to Rhode Island. Okay? All right. Any question? Good. All right. Calling frequency and beacons. We just discussed that. Why are the bands needed. Why do we need to get this done? Bans are decided by these voluntary agreements. I have yet to meet anybody who knows of anybody who came up with this plan. They tell me that somebody came up with this plan. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get all the CW guys together, all the voice guys together, all the digital modes together, so we don't step all over each other. So we're just trying to add a little organization to that, okay? And the question will be on your exam, who designs the band plan? Well, it's done by voluntary agreement, okay? Under normal conditions, okay? Very big, we're very big on whatever it takes in an emergency. Whatever it takes in an emergency, that's what you need to do. We'll worry about the FCC later, okay? Who makes the band plan? Okay, it's done by the ARRL, volunteers. It's a gentleman's agreement. There's no super official way to do it. We try to stick to that for the most part, and sometimes we're actually successful, okay? All right, cool. So they talk about the band plan rules. They try to put CW at the beginning of every band. Then we go to digital modes. Then we go to phone. And that kind of almost works sometimes, okay? But people get enthusiastic. And if you happen to be a young lady, okay, I can tell Jessica is ready to send out an 88. That's the first thing she's going to do, okay, on HF. If Jessica does that, okay, for probably 10 megahertz on either side of wherever she's transmitting, she'll have 50 million guys trying to talk to her. So you want to, we try to make it as organized as we can, okay? But if Jessica gets on and starts doing 88s, then we're going to have a problem, okay? All right, cool. Making contacts, we did this. The rule of thumb is listen first, okay? Keep your transmission short, as short as you can. Why? Because it does get crowded, okay? Identify your station legally. You are required to identify every 10 minutes, period, end of sentence. I'm going to say that again. You are required by law to identify your station every 10 minutes, no matter what. Doesn't matter if somebody said your call sign 56 times, you need to identify every 10 minutes, right? So Vicki, how are you, Vicki? I haven't talked to you in a long time. I don't think I've ever talked to you, Vicki. Have I? And Vicki's phone is off. Let's see if she's there. You there, Vicki? Guess not. All right, let me pick on somebody who is there. Armando, how are you, Armando?
Doing well, sir.
Good. So how often do you have to identify your station?
You have to identify your station every 10 minutes, at least every 10.
Right. So I'm going to ask you that question ad infinitum. It's a question on the exam, on all the exams, and it's the proper operating policy. Okay? All right, cool. So that's what we need to know there. Let's see. Oh, the other question they're going to ask you is about picket fencing. See this guy? They don't talk about it a lot, but it is a question on the exam. What does that mean? It means fluttering of your signal. It sounds like this. That's fluttering, okay, or picket fencing. And it's caused because you're propagating your signal in different directions. Remember that on a handy-talkie, your signal, it's a dipole, so by definition, it's omnidirectional. If you move around or you spin around, it's going to distort your signal, okay? So picket fencing, you know what that is, okay? All right, cool. We know this already, right? So we know how to do this, whether it's CW, single sideband, doesn't matter. It's CQ, 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 and then your call sign, okay? And that's the way we handle it when we're not on a repeater. We're on a repeater, whoever you want to talk to, followed by your call sign. We did that already. All right, cool. Breaking in, okay. Let's see if I can find somebody to break in a conversation with. So they're talking. Let's see if we can find somebody. course not. Why would we find somebody? All right, I'm going to start scanning to see if I can find somebody and break into their conversation. If somebody is talking on a repeater and you want to break in, you wait until they time out. Repeaters time out after 90 seconds. Every 90 seconds, the repeater resets. Okay? Yep. I don't want to talk to him. So if you wait until there's a lull in the conversation and somebody's handing it off, and then all you have to do to break into the conversation is press the transmit button and say your call sign. All right? So it would be Whiskey 2 Bravo Mike Papa in my case, and that's it. That's all you got to say. They will tell you, breaking station acknowledged. Okay? And once you hear that, you wait for it. They'll say breaking station, pick it up. And then you'll identify with your call sign, Whiskey 2 Bravo Mike Papa. I need this, or I want that, or I'm calling this person. You say thank you for the break. Let's say I wanted to talk to my wife, for example. She's Whiskey 2 Charlie Tango Golf. All right? So then I hear people talking. I would say, wait for the break, and I would say Whiskey 2 Bravo Mike Papa. And they'll say breaking station, pick it up. And I'll say thank you for the break. I wish to make a call. And then I would say Whiskey 2 Charlie Tango Golf. This is Whiskey 2 Bravo Mike Papa. And they'll wait. And they'll sit there and they'll wait until you make the conversation. If I make the contact and I have to have a lengthy conversation with her, I'll tell her we're moving to a different repeater or we're moving to a different frequency. You know, it depends on how long the conversation is going to be. All right? So that's the proper way of doing it. Okay? Simplex channels, no repeater, right? And if you pick a simplex channel to talk to your buddy, you can stay on there until your batteries die or until you have to go to work or go to sleep. No problem. Yes.
Is there a, like on regular marine radio, we go to 83 or we go to 86 or 89 just to have conversation. Is there a set conversation that you need to go to? Would it,
nope.
Do we have a lengthy conversation?
Nope, any clear frequency. Any clear frequency.
Roger that.
You have over 1 million possible frequencies to go to just on 2 meter. Over
Thank
1
you.
million. Yeah, no problem. Okay. This is the most popular. This is where people hang out. It's like a giant chat room, right? So 146.52, and on 70 centimeters, 446 megahertz, and you can meet people there. And then if you want to talk to them, you can decide on another frequency. So I would go to something nearby. I'd go to 146.55. Okay, and then see if that's free. And if not, you can decide on something else. Okay? Yeah, you can pick anyone you want. Okay? Repeaters, we talked about. Repeaters are available. Just Google the repeater in your area. So let's try to do that for, it was Judy, right, I was talking to? So it was Allen County in Ohio. Repeaters. And, okay, here we go. So these are all the repeaters that are available for her. There are a bunch of them, okay? So these are all in different bands, okay? You pick one you like, okay? And you pick the tone, and you can actually zoom in on it, I hope, right? And it'll tell you what it is, and blah, 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 and how much energy it emits, and all of that stuff, and off you go. So you know it's 143.3700 minus. On 2 meters, what's the average offset? Anirudh, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. So on 2 meters, the average offset for a repeater is what?
Plus minus 600.
Perfect. You are the best, man. That's awesome. That's right. And on 70 centimeters, it's 5,000. All right? So that's the general one. It doesn't mean that they're all like that, but most of them are. Okay? So right away, you know, 145.3700 minus. So I'm going to go down 600, and I'll show you how to program that next time on your Baufunks. Okay? Actually, the software is so sophisticated, it already puts in the 600. Okay? And this is the call sign for the repeater. This is not the call sign for any one particular individual. each repeater has its own license. Okay? Like if I tune in Mark, you heard the repeater automatically say N2FLF repeater. In that case, Mark's call sign is the same as his repeater. It's his private repeater, so he can do that. But in a club, this call sign that we're looking at, okay, is not the call sign for an individual. All right? There's a database which we talked about. If I click here, it takes me to Ham QTH. Okay? Everybody's call sign, everybody is listed. So you know exactly where it's located, okay? And you know all about this stuff. Let's try mine. Let's see where I'm located. Okay, guess what? That's me. Okay? So we have this information. This gives grid information on me. So what grid I'm in, okay? And I haven't filled anything out, but it'll tell you what map I'm in, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And it tells me which bureau I use for those cards that we trade, logbook of the world, that's this guy, okay? And EQSL, which is another bureau, so we can trade those QSO cards that we had conversations, okay? So by law, I have to be registered here, just like on the FCC database. Right? So if you give me your call sign, they want to know that everybody knows where you live. The reason for that is because you have the capability to be a miniature radio station. So you can transmit whatever you like, and you can go up pretty far in the power. Okay? So you are a licensed radio operator as opposed to CB that only has a range of a couple of miles at best. You can actually transmit much, much further. So you are, in fact, a radio station. Okay? All right, cool.
Hey, Joe?
So, yes?
Call signs, I've seen 4-digit call signs, 5, 6, is it?
Yeah, we're going to get into that. You guys are always 2 steps ahead of me. Whew, you guys are. We're going to get there. We're going to get there in a second, okay?
Thank
so
you.
we talked about this. So hang on to your question. Repeater offset or shift. We know about that, right? What we need to do. So they talk about repeaters are available, although not used as much anymore. They're available on almost every band, okay, 2 meters, okay, plus or minus 600 kilohertz, so it's 600 kilohertz, okay. On 70 centimeter, which is what I'm interested that you know, it's plus or 5 megahertz. Notice megahertz versus kilohertz. Kilohertz, megahertz. So this is 600, this is 5,000. Right, of these units, 5,000 kilohertz, 5 megahertz, okay? And that's the average repeater. They have 10-meter repeaters. They even have 20 and 40 meters repeaters. Yeah. Corey asked the question, do you have to give out your address? Wherever your radio is going to be located is where you need to list as your address. Yes, by law. Okay? And if you move, you must notify them that you moved that radio someplace else. Yes?
Does that mean that if anyone looks up your call sign, they can get your address?
Yep. Wherever your radio is. Wherever your radio is. It doesn't have to necessarily be your home address. It can be where wherever you're going to be transmitting for the majority of the time.
What if you take your radio on vacation?
Well, it's wherever your radio is most of the time. That's the definition. That's the definition. So, do you have to give your address? You have to give the address where the radio is located. Think about it, folks. I know that's a shocker to a lot of people, and I've been a ham for a very long time. I've never had a problem, so don't worry about it too much. But think about the reason for this. So you are going to have a radio that can virtually transmit around the world, right? And the FCC doesn't know from you, doesn't know who you are, doesn't know what you're doing, okay? We could transmit a lot of stuff, okay? Some of it good, and some of it not so good. They need to know where these things are coming from and who's responsible for them, okay? So I know that instills a little security issue with you. Don't worry about it so much, Okay? Again, there are millions of hams around in the world. We all have to list our addresses. Nobody really hassles us. Okay? And I've never heard of a problem because of that. Okay?
Joe?
It's much worse to say you're on vacation on Facebook. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, too. This is David in Wyoming. Can you real briefly explain why we used an offset, the minus or the plus?
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
On a radio wave, the voice carries better on...
No, that's not it at all. I'll explain it to you right now.
Okay.
Jessica, did I throw you for a loop there? You sound worried. Was that Jessica that asked me, do you have to list the address? I understand the FCC needing it, but why public? Just the way it is. Just the way it is. All right, to answer this question. So we have this repeater, right? And this repeater is on this tower, right? Okay. And what a repeater basically is two radios, okay? That's all it is. Two separate radios. One is a receive only and one is a transmit only, okay? That's how it's able to receive your signal. So you're over here with your bow phone, okay? You want to always receive on one channel and transmit on another. It's the way satellites work, okay? So that you have the most seamless transmission possible. So the offset is, okay, so it's transmitting to you, right? So it picks the next closest channel without distortion. On 2 meters, okay, the closest you can get without having any bleed over, okay, is 600 kilohertz. There's a mathematical reason for that, okay? Actually, there's a physics reason for that. So it could be either plus or minus. Who knows, all right? So if the receiving, so when you transmit, it's receiving, down here would be minus 600. This is on 2 meter only, kilohertz. And that's only in receive mode. If it's up here, it's plus 600 kilohertz. So it's to accommodate the two radios that are in the repeater. That's the reason for that shift. Okay? So it knows that it's going to receive on one frequency, it's going to transmit at another frequency. Okay? That's the reason for it. And the separation, this plus or minus 600, is the minimum frequency without getting distortion. Okay? On 70 centimeter, okay, it's more powerful. So the signals can penetrate buildings. So they make the separation between the transmit and the receive much greater. Okay, because there's more room to make a mistake. Okay, so on 70 centimeters, it's plus or minus 5 megahertz, not kilohertz, which is 5,000 kilohertz. Okay, this is for 70 centimeter, and the other one is for 2 meter. Okay, Braden asked, isn't the shift to specify the offset from receiving to transmitting? Yes, yes, yes. So you're actually talking on you're having a conversation on two frequencies. When you transmit, you're on one frequency. When you're receiving, you're on another frequency. Does that help, guys? Did I explain that succinctly? I hope. Yes? No? Maybe? All right.
That's all automatic, though, right? You don't have to.
It's all automatic. It's all automatic.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. You remember when we were using my big radio, and the first day or two we were together, and I showed you when I hit the transmit button, I went from 146.850, which was what I was listening on, to one.
Yep.
Yeah, you remember that shift? So that's what's happening. So I'm transmitting on one channel, receiving on the other. Same thing for satellites, same thing for the International Space Station. When you work satellites or the International Space Station, the separation, because the satellite's traveling so fast, 18,000 miles an hour, right? Same as the space station. In order to have any kind of meaningful conversation with either a satellite or the International Space Station, you will transmit normally on 2 meters and you'll receive on 70 centimeters, or the other way around. The range, the offset range is so large that you can't even talk on the same bands, okay? So you would listen on 2 meters, you would talk on 70 centimeters. And that goes back to that question, should I get a dual band radio? That's why you buy a dual band radio, okay? Access tones, that's the PL tone. On the Baofungs, it's known as the CPCSS, because that's what it should be called. PL tone is just slang. So if you look at your Baofeng, hit the menu button and go through the menus, you'll see a thing that says CPCSS, Continuous Tone Coded Squelch System. Okay? Every place else on the planet, except for the United States, they call it CPCSS. Except for us, we decided to call it PL. Okay? Named after Motorola. So you need to know that it is like the key to your house. Okay? All right, but we knew this already, so no problem. All right, cool. Accessing repeater, you'll need to know the receiving. So you need to know 3 things to access a repeater. You need to know the receiving frequency, whatever that is. You need to know what the offset is, and you need to know what the CPCSS tone is. You know those 3 things, you can talk to any repeater you like. Okay? So those are the 3 things that you need. Okay. Repeater systems, control links, control codes. So on your Baofungs, you'll see a keypad, and you'll say, what is a keypad for? To enter in frequencies. True. You can also control repeaters using the same keypad. Every one of those keypads sends out a different tone. Okay? And you can control repeaters using, if you're authorized to do so, there's a password you need for each repeater. Each repeater has a unique password. And then you can shut the repeater off. You can link it to another repeater. You can control that repeater by remote control. Okay? All right, cool. Auto patch. This was used a while ago before there was cell phones. And it's just like marine radios. You know, when you call them, for those of you that are into boating, you can call the marine operator. She'll place a call for you. Then you'll get the phone bill and say, why did I possibly do that? Because they charge you 11 times as much as a regular phone call. Ham radio has that also. Some repeaters have a thing called auto patch, okay? And what they'll do is if you type in the right code, you have to check with your repeater system that you have. It will make a phone call for you, okay? So you can be on the radio and call somebody you want on a cell phone or a regular house phone, and you'll be able to talk to them no problem. Okay? All right. Special use repeaters. There are special use repeaters that are closed. You may not use them without permission. Okay? They are Aries, Races, Red Cross, Skywarn. Okay? These are all emergency ones. Lately, the fire departments and the sheriff's departments and the police departments are putting up private repeaters. They're closed, only to be used for an emergency. Okay? All right. Are we okay so far with everything? Yes? Okay. I don't hear any answers, so I'm assuming everything is okay. 2 other cool things I want to talk to you about is ARRL. So you can use the internet to make a call, and you can talk to another repeater in Europe on your Baofeng, on your $30 Baofeng. You can hook up ARRL. Very inexpensive to do that, and you can talk to any repeater in Russia, in China, wherever, Japan. So it uses the internet to make that connection. Okay. The other cool thing is anybody who has a smartphone, you can download this program. It's available for the iPhone, for Android, for anything you can think of. It's free, okay? And it's called Echolink. It is the most popular system around. So you don't have to carry your ham radio to talk to another amateur radio station anymore. You download this, go to the App Store, download Echolink. You will not be able to use it until you have your call sign, because the first question it asks you is, what is your call sign? Once you do put in your call sign, all of these repeaters, 99.9% of these repeaters are listed. Pick one you like, press, and then start talking. That's it. And without a ham radio or amateur radio, you'll be able to talk to that station. Very, very popular for long distance. So yes, you could be in wherever you are. I'm in Long Island using Echolink. I could easily talk to Israel or Africa or Australia or any place on the planet that I like. Can you log Echolink calls? Absolutely. They're a viable means of communication. Yes, you can log those. I get them quite a bit. I'll show you next time. I've got a couple from Israel. I've got one from South Africa. I have one from the South Pole. I have one from the North Pole. Okay? So yes. And not only can you talk to them, if there's an expedition that's going on, you can use Echolink to talk to that expedition. God knows wherever they are. Okay?
So Joe, this is all on a cell phone?
Yeah, all from a cell phone.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Just download the app. You'll see. Okay? Again, the first thing they ask you for is your call sign. So it's of limited value to you at this moment. But as soon as you pass your test, put in that call sign. They're listed by countries. They're listed by whatever. They're listed in a million different ways. You want to talk to Bermuda? No problem. You want to talk to St. Thomas? No problem. You want to talk to Argentina? No problem. No problem. Crystal clear. Okay? Then there's proprietary digital systems. These are all digital systems. Wires 2, it's made by Yaesu, and of course ICOM could not be beat out by Yaesu, so they came out with D-Star. I showed you a D-Star radio that I have, which is a little handy talkie, looks like a little Baofeng. I can talk to anybody on the planet. Okay, Braden, it uses cell phone data like Wi-Fi. Yeah, it uses it. That's exactly right, Braden. It uses Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G. It's very efficient. So even if you don't have a good internet provider, it'll use the regular phone line and call whoever you like. Was there another question?
Yeah, just which is more popular, Joe?
Excuse me?
Which is more popular? D-Star or wires?
Yeah, good question. You know, we could talk about that for another month. I don't know. You know what? In my honest opinion, they all bite the big. Both of these guys bite the big one. I don't think they're worthwhile because they haven't unified this yet. You know,
right.
For the older people, remember when they had when VHS first came out, videotape. And there was a big fight between Betamax and VHS won eventually, and everybody went to VHS. Man, am I showing my age. Anyway, same battle here. They're both good. You know, is it worth the effort? Not really. It's really not worth it. I bought the radio, and they're expensive too, these radios. Okay, this Wires 2 and D-Star, they're very expensive compared to a regular radio. Have I ever used it? I used it once, just to learn how to use it. I strongly suggest you play with Echolink. That's by far the easiest and the fastest and the most fun. Tiffany, when using Echolink, do you have cellular service that will work for calls when you are out of range? It'll work any place you have a signal, and any place you have a signal or have internet access. You can also use Echolink on your iPad or any tablet. It doesn't have to be an iPad. It could be an Android tablet on your computer. So anything that has internet access will work. Remember, it uses phone or internet technology, whichever is available. Okay, if internet technology is available, it will use internet. So it's just, you know.
And Joe, you still the same protocol with the way you speak on that?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. So remember, there are repeaters. So you don't want to use CQ if you can avoid it. is there a CQ police? So if you say CQ on a repeater, will you get in trouble? No. Especially if you want to get into a repeater that's far away from you. Let's say Belgium. Okay, you want to talk to Belgium. You know what? You're in the United States. You want to talk to Belgium. Whip out a CQ. Not a problem. Say CQ, 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 DX from the United States. Your call sign, CQ, 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 DX from USA. Somebody's going to answer you. They want to talk to you. Okay? And there's a delay. There's a little bit more of a delay as opposed to using your radio. So when you hit this little transmit button on the application, so when you press the button, you wait a second or two, you count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then start talking. Because it's got to do all this translation between an analog mode to a digital mode. But it's a hoot and a half, okay? It's a lot of fun. And you can talk to anybody. I mean anybody. No problem. Yeah. And this is what it looks like. This is IRLP. And this uses voice over IP technology. If you're familiar with that, you don't need to know it for the exam. So the way it works is you got this little handy talkie here. It goes to a repeater, okay? Goes to a computer, out through the internet, to wherever this happens to be, okay? And then out through its repeater to the station listening, okay? They all work pretty much in the same principle. What you need to know about IRLP, and they will ask you this on the exam, is for IRLP, you need a node, N-O-D-E number. Don't worry about it if you don't know what that means. Just know that for IRLP, you need a node number. This computer, when you connect, will assign a node number to you. Okay? I rarely, if ever, use IRLP. It's too complicated for me. I like Echolink much better, and it's a lot more fun. Okay? Okay, cool. So they go into a little bit more detail here. They talk about D-star and wires 2 and IRLP, blah, 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 blah. And then and they discuss that here. How does it differ from a regular? How does IRLP and Echolink differ from a regular one? You need this IRLP for IRLP node for IRLP. You do not need it for Echolink. So IRLP was the first generation, think of it that way, where you needed a node number. Echolink, you do it on the fly. It's all done automatically for you. Okay? Let's see. Okay, Larry, if Echolink is good, do I need a Baofeng? No, you don't. Knock yourself out. You really don't. Here's my philosophy on this. So the question was, if Echolink is so good, do I really need a Baofeng? No, you don't. But here's the problem, Larry. The problem is, and anybody that's in here with me will tell you about New York and Hurricane Sandy.
Boston. It doesn't matter. The system goes down, you have nothing.
That's exactly right. I mean, this really was a reality check for us New Yorkers. Okay, when the cell phone towers are down and the local phone company is down, you really feel abandoned. It's scary.
They're not even down. They're just so jammed. We had so many calls come in that they couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, yeah. So I love Echolink. I'm not putting Echolink down. I'm telling you to use it, okay? What I'm telling you is spend the $30, buy a Baofeng. Because when the chips are down, that's how I got through.
Joe?
Right? Yes.
This is Armando here in Florida. I was told that, like, if the electricity goes out, by law, the amount of diesel fuel that they have to have at the towers for cell phones is like just, I believe, 4 hours, if I recall. But for the towers for the radio, it's like 24 hours. Do you know if that's true at all?
Yeah, that not only is that true, I have something better for you, okay? So we all have cell phones, right? Okay. By law, all of the carriers put together are only required to have enough bandwidth to be able to handle 18% of us. So if there people in this class, right? Only 18 of us is all that all the phone companies combined need to have for bandwidth. So only 18 of us could make a call at the same time out of 100. So what the other gentleman said is absolutely true. Even if your cell phone was working and even if you had power, you still weren't getting through. You would get that message, all circuits are busy now, please try your call later. You know what? You have an emergency, you need an ambulance, you know, God forbid somebody got hurt in your family, you're not going to keep trying until you get through. It could be hours. Pick up the Baofeng, get on the ARRL repeater, say I need an ambulance here now. 5 minutes later, they were here. We did that twice during Hurricane Sandy for our neighbors. Okay? Forget the cell phones. They were useless. You know? So, suggestion, just from personal experience, and I'm sure the other Long Islanders here will tell you, was wake-up time for us. Okay? Keep a Baofeng with you, charged all the time, and in case of an emergency, use it. Okay? Pick it up. License, no license, we'll worry about that later. I certainly want you to be licensed. That's why we're doing this, right? Heaven forbid you have an emergency before you get your license. Pick it up, call ARRL. Okay?
Hey, Joe, I have a question.
Yeah.
If I got my license and I need to contact you, would I program your repeater and then use the call sign, or can I use a simplex?
What county do you live in? State and county. What state and county?
Will County, Illinois.
Okay. So Illinois happens to be a beautiful, beautiful place for amateur radio. I can link. They will link repeaters from where you are to us.
Okay. We have a repeater in Bolingbrook from bars.
Yeah, beautiful state. Beautiful place to be.
So I just program my repeater and then I just use your call sign?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways you're going to do that, and we're going to go through that in the next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Okay? Okay, so again, I hope I made that perfectly clear to everybody. Knock yourself out with Echolink. Have a great time. Buy a Baofeng. Okay? Next question was, if self-service and internet goes down, you need to use the ham radio. Absolutely. Okay? And then Jessica says, when there's an emergency, do you use your call sign or just say break? Okay, let's get that straightened out right now. We discussed it the first day of class. You get on an amateur radio band. You say break. The earth stops spinning. Everything stops. Okay? You say break. You have everybody's undivided, super serious attention. Okay? Break is like super Mayday. Okay? Say break, break, break. That's it. And expect the police to show up and the fire department and people you never heard of. You know, everybody will be running to your aid. So break is, in amateur radio, means there's some serious stuff going on. Okay? So, answer your question, Jessica. You say the word break. Okay? You don't say your call sign. You don't wait for somebody to acknowledge you. You say break, everything stops. Okay? I've experienced that firsthand. Okay? So you say break, that's all you need to say. You have everybody's undivided attention. They're already dialing 911 for you. Okay? Before you finish the K and break. Okay. Nets. So nets are just a group of people that meet together to discuss all various things. There are traffic nets, there are weather nets, there are computer nets, there's astronomy nets, there's every net you can think of. Think of any hobby you can possibly think of, there's a net for it. And they're all over the country. Okay? So there's remote control airplanes, there's bowling, there's photography, there's a net for everything. All you need to do is Google the right net or go to your local repeater. Normally they have information nets. They normally run on Sunday nights. They will identify all the nets that are available in your area. You can use Echolink to attach to our net, okay? Sunday nights, 8 p.m., the world's most brilliant antenna guy that ever lived, that I've ever known, 146.850, or on Echolink, just look up LImarc, L-I-M-A-R-C, Long Island Mobile Amateur Radio Club. It'll automatically program the offsets and all of that stuff for the repeater for you, and you can listen into the TechNet. Okay, we have, and our club has an astronomy net, a nostalgia net, computer net. We have all those nets running. Okay. All right. Cool. So there's a million of them. Okay. Traffic nets. So if you live in California or New York or Boston, where traffic is heavy duty, any major city, there are traffic nets, and they run normally from at rush hour time, and they are attached to the national traffic system. Okay, so you can pick up information on traffic 10 miles down the road, 20 miles, blah 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 blah. Okay. Also, the passing of a national traffic system, this NTS, is designed to send radio telegrams. Okay, so my mother was in Florida. We had no power. She was crazy, as all mothers normally are, that she wanted to know that we were okay. Well, the way I got the message to them was using this NTS. Okay, so I created a telegram that was transmitted from repeater to repeater to repeater from New York to Florida, and somebody called my mom and said, I have a radio telegram for you, and it's from your son, and they're fine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She could then send a response, and I would have gotten the response by radio. Okay? And we'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit. Emergency and public service. I'm gonna preach a little bit here. David, can you mute your phone for me, please?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to preach a little bit. So, you didn't get this class for free, so you have to listen to my little sermon here. Okay, so as ham radio people, okay, amateur radio operators, you need to understand that you have a skill that now is incredibly important. Okay, if anybody in this class thinks that a disaster can't happen to them, I strongly suggest that you think again. Okay, so as amateur radio people, what I expect from you and what you will do for me, because you're nice people and I asked you to do it, is in case of an emergency, if a storm is coming, go see your neighbors. Say, look, if you lose phones and you lose power, I'm an amateur radio, I'm a ham radio operator. I can get through. I can call somebody, okay? Not that the police and the fire department don't do an incredible job, but if you can't call them, they can't help you, okay? You do this before an emergency occurs. So yeah, my wife and I went out, and she took 4 blocks, and I took 4 blocks. And they all thought we were crazy. Guess what? They had to use us twice during Hurricane Sandy. So they weren't laughing so hard then, okay? So that's part of your responsibility, okay? You need to help your neighbors, yourself, your family first, of course, but certainly in case of an emergency, I expect you to step up to the plate, okay? All right, cool. There's 2 types of nets, okay? There's informal and formal nets. If it's a formal net, they will identify themselves as a formal net, and you have to log in. And the way you log in is you use your call sign, and they'll tell you they have a net control station that's somebody organizing. So if I wanted to talk to Corey, you there, Corey? Hi, Corey. No, Corey's doesn't want to talk to me. So let's pick on somebody else. If I wanted to talk to Jackson, hey Jackson, how are you? Okay. Anyway, the point is, a lot of people are on mute and they're either asleep or whatever. But if I wanted to talk to somebody and I was on a controlled net, okay, I couldn't talk to you directly. I would have to ask permission from the net control station. So if I wanted to talk to my wife I would ask net control, I'd say net control request direct to W2CTG. And they either would say yes or hold. So the idea of this is to have the most important traffic going first. Okay? That's what a structured net is, or a formal net. Okay, emergency nets are always formalized nets, and they meet regularly. Okay, they meet regularly either on Monday nights or Wednesday nights, I think, most of them. ARRL provides them. There's a procedure. I strongly suggest that once you get your license, you log in, listen to them, okay, and understand how the system works, okay? And if you decide to volunteer further, at every shelter, okay, during an emergency, there always has to be an amateur radio operator present. And so in case communications goes down, you have ARRL, which is a nationwide, actually it's a worldwide organization. We can request supplies, food, water, whatever we need. So for the most part, certainly here in New York, they can't even open a shelter for people to go to if there isn't an amateur radio operator present. Okay, that's
yeah, Joe,
yeah.
I was reading up here in Boston the same way now with the like the Boston Marathon. They've got at least 20 to 30 ham radio operators, but any of the major events now that they're trying to make sure that there's a ham radio operator there on site, and they're actually paying for these jobs now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So New York City has the New York City Marathon. We have over 500 operators that go into various parts of the course, and they're there to assist the police and the fire department. We don't contact them directly. We contact our net control, whoever's in charge, and then they're responsible for getting the right first responders. We are not first responders to anything. We just don't have the training to do that. We're here to assist the first responders, and we've been invaluable in doing that, okay? So traffic handling, somebody had asked me about, or I don't know if they did, this is what a radio telegram looks like. This is how I contacted my mom during Hurricane Sandy, and I transmitted it to somebody. They transmitted it to somebody. They transmitted it to somebody, and if you get involved with this, it's word for word, okay? 25 words, exactly as you hear it is why you write it down this way, okay? So word for word, you don't embellish anything, you don't add anything, you transmit exactly what you were told. And that's how we get messages through. Very big during World War II, okay? So this is part of the radiogram system. I know it sounds a little nerdy, but heaven forbid you should ever have to use it, you know, but sometimes we do, okay? This is very specific, okay, and it's very specific how we want it handled. Do you want that person to be called on the phone? Do you want them to go there in person? You know, whatever. You can play with this a little bit, but it's how we get messages through. It's how we got them through in Hurricane Sandy.
Joe, I see you're writing in military block there. Is that just a formal block that you write in with these, or is it just the way you choose to write?
No, we want it to be read, and we keep these. We keep these in case there's a problem. We keep them on file for 12 months. We keep them on file for a year. So in case something was misread or something was done, we write it very clearly, and we can hand it over to another ham or another operator or the police or whatever we need to do. This one's pretty innocuous. We need more cots at the and sanitation kits at the shelters. Sometimes they're a little bit more intense than this. Okay. Sometimes, and I regret having to say this, sometimes somebody passed away. A tree fell on somebody, and that's one of the ones I had to handle. And we had to tell the family, which I believe lived in Texas, and we couldn't get through. I mean, there was no phones. So, you know, hopefully we never have to handle a message like that, you know. But if we do, we do, okay? So, yeah, we write it this way for a specific reason. When you join ARRL, or at least become areas reserved to let them know that you're available, that you know how to operate a radio. They will train you on exactly how to fill this out, okay? Because we need to get the messages through. Okay, cool. Finding on nets, there is an ARRL net directory, so you pick whatever you're interested in, and they'll direct you to the right net. You can log in by Echolink, or if you're close enough, from repeater to repeater, and away you go, okay? And this is the protocol that you need to know for your license, okay? Don't become part of the problem. Don't embellish anything. Be calm. It's very important you stay calm no matter what the emergency is. Always keep yourself first, okay? Your safety is first. You can't help anybody if you become injured, okay? And you maintain radio discipline, which means very short, very, very succinct messages in a normal conversational tone. You don't want to over-modulate, okay? Never speculate or guess. That's why we use radiograms, okay? So, and you want 100% accuracy. If you don't know, you don't know. So it's all part of it, okay? So we expect you to be professional. We expect you to, because you wouldn't want to get a message that wasn't accurate, right? Think about it. If you were cut off from the rest of the planet, okay, wherever you live, and I had to get a message to you, you want to be absolutely sure that what I'm telling you is 100% accurate, okay? Did you ever play that game when you were a kid, and you have a group of people in a circle, and you whisper in one person's ear a sentence, whatever it is, and by the time it comes around to you again, it's something completely different? That's
telephone game.
Right. I'm sorry, what was that called?
Telephone game.
Telephone games, yeah. That's exactly what we want to avoid, okay? So if I need to tell somebody in Texas that, heaven forbid, their child was injured, and I want to state exactly how they were injured, and got a splinter, I don't want it to come out that he lost a foot or something, right? So we want to be extremely accurate. That's incredibly important. I can't stress that enough, okay? So professionalism is what we're trying to go here, okay? Never, ever send personal information of any kind, okay, over the air, okay? And do never give out unauthorized information, all right? Why? Because if you don't think that every frequency is being monitored by reporters and the paparazzi, think again, okay? So never start rumors. It's not there's nothing illegal about it, but it's just not the proper policy, okay? All right, cool. All right, and let's talk about this, okay? E-commerce, your employer, okay? So you can never transmit anything on amateur radio that makes you money. There are only 2 exceptions to this, okay? So you can never talk about money, and nor can you make money or lose money or any kind of money on amateur radio. It's a major no-no, okay? So if you're trying to call your office on your mobile rig and tell them you're going to be late for your next appointment, the answer is no, you can't do that, okay? The only 2 exceptions are, number 1 is every club, when they have an information net, will offer radios for sale, used equipment for sale. That's the only time you can talk about money. We do it on Monday nights here at LImarc at about 8:30 at night. We have a swap and shop, okay? We either selling a radio, donating a radio, whatever we want to do with it. So I'm currently selling one of my radios, and I said, I want X amount of money for it, so I'm allowed to do that. It's not something you would do normally, okay? If I was in the amateur radio business, I could not get on the air and say, we're having a sale, 50% off sale. That's illegal. The second part of that is if you are a teacher, okay, and you are teaching amateur radio in the course of your employment, that's okay because you're teaching it, right? So those are the 2 exceptions. All right, cool. Let's talk about emergency declarations. The FCC is the only one who can declare an emergency, Okay, communications emergency. That's a question on the exam, so only the FCC can do that. Okay, and this is the caveat to answer Jessica Bowman's question. Okay, if it's a threat to life and property, do whatever you need to do. Okay, it's provided for under Part 97-403 of the law. Do whatever you need to do. Okay. Now they want you to be licensed, and that's correct, and that's true. I'm telling you, do whatever you need to do. Okay. Any questions? I'm sorry if I ran a few minutes over. I just want to get to the exams next week. Are we good? Any questions? No?
Sounds good.
All right. You guys did great.
Hey, Joe,
thank
you
you.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
I do got a question. I looked over the new question bank. There's like, 450 questions or whatever it may be. And a lot of things I hear you pointing out that should be on the exam, I didn't see those questions, multiple of them, throughout this last.
Yeah. So the advantage of taking the class over just studying for it or going to hamstudy.org and taking the test is what I'm trying to invoke here is actually how to use this stuff. As a matter of fact, we have 2 people in this class who already have their license, actually 3 people who already have their technician's license or higher. So I have 1 person in here who I know has their general license. I think 1 person who has their extra license who just took the exams and really don't know how to use the system, how to use ham radio. So part of this is not only for you to pass the test, but to go out and use it right away. So
now
yes,
listen, Joe, you've been a godsend. I'm glad I came across you, and I want to continue on to the general with you.
Good.
It's just, I was getting a little nervous.
Nah, don't get nervous. There's nothing to it. It's a piece of cake. So what we're going to do here is over the weekend, we're going to finish up Chapter 6, 7, and 8. 9 is a piece of cake. I want to get these all squeezed in, and I promise to stop talking on next Tuesday, and then we're going to start taking practice exams, and I'll show you some shortcuts how to ace the exams, no problem. Okay? So if you have any questions, email me, and have an awesome weekend. Try to stay warm. If you live in Boston or here in New York or wherever it's cold, I hear the word speak, and I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. All right?
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Thanks,
Hey,
Joe.
Joe. Good night, Joe. One quick.
Good night, Joe.
Good night.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, did somebody have a question?
Oh yeah, Joe. One of the guys in my Jeep club, who I'm getting this reason why I'm getting my license, but he went and took his technician license, got himself a radio, the whole bit. He's asking me how to use it.
Well, that's good. That's good. So you'll be able to explain that to him now. Yeah.
He has no clue. So.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, it's not that hard to pass the test. What's much your license to get using it. So now you better one up on that. So.
Right. And I like how the whole group calls a radio a baofeng now. It's not a radio.
Yeah, that's the most popular. Have a lovely weekend. Take it easy.
Before you go, can I ask you one more thing?
Of course you can.
So my question was, I didn't notice when you were going to be running another class after this because I'm interested in getting my stepfather to take the class with you.
Right.
So do you know what you're going to be doing next?
I don't. What I can tell you is I'm going to take a couple of weeks off because I've been off since last June.
Okay.
And I'm tired.
Okay.
So the answer is I have to sit with Seal, my wife, and she's the one who kind of says I need to take a couple of days off. Schedule yet. I should have a schedule by the time of our last class.
Okay, awesome.
All right, and as soon as I know, we're the only club that does teach this online, though. But if he's interested in taking it, there's a whole bunch of different clubs that do teach it in person. And I don't know when the schedule is going to be. It's up to her.
He's out in West Virginia. I'm guessing this would be better for him.
Yeah. This gets
you're awesome, so it just works. It works out nicely.
All right, I'll let you know before our last class.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe.
All right, you're welcome. Have a great weekend, guys.
Hey, Joe, I have a...
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so after last week, I kind of looked at what the technician's license, the bands that it allows us to talk on, and it really does look like from a telephone perspective, you really aren't going to be able to use the HF bands with the technician license, and the distance communication is kind of interesting to me. But what I think I heard tonight is with the 70 centimeter and 2 meter, you can potentially use satellites and the space station.
Yeah, what we can do, okay, again, I'm going to be taking a break after this class, so I'm in no rush to finish this class. What we can do is, at the same time that you take your technician's exam, you can also take your general exam. There's no additional charge.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's free. So if I have enough people interested in this, the general class is not that hard, okay? This is much harder to get into it than it is to move up to general. So if enough people are interested, I'm willing to extend this another couple of sessions and go over the general stuff with you as well. The general cheat sheet is only 2 pages long, okay?
Joe?
Yeah.
No, I'm in that.
Okay, and that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So if I have enough people interested, and 10 is usually the number I like to go to, then I'll spend extra time with you guys, and we'll go over the general stuff. It's not that hard. The main thing that we want to teach you in general is watch the power, okay? The power can hurt you, and you can hurt your family, you can hurt your neighbor, so we want you to be careful with the power. That's the big thing on general. Why? Because you're going to need that. You'll go to that power when you go up to the HF bands. You want to reach just a little further. I'm going to kick it up just 5 more watts, and then 5 more watts after that, and that's when people start running into a problem, right? You don't want to nuke your dog. So it really is what it comes down to. Yeah. Well,
Fair enough.
Yeah, so if there's enough people, and I'll make that announcement next class. I want to get everybody through this first. But if you guys want, I'll go through the general, and I always have pretty much a 95 to 100% pass rate just based on that quickie class, okay? It's another 2 or 3 sessions, and then you can take your technician, you'll ace that, and then you can ask to take your general. They don't charge you another $15, and you walk out of there with a general license.
Cool.
Yep, no problem. No problem. And I'll send you guys a study guide, and we'll go through it. I don't even think you need the manual. I'll have the manual here. We'll go through it really quickly. Everything that's on the technician is also covered in the general, okay? So as long as you're studying, you might as well know that. A couple of different math things, no biggie, piece of cake, and that's it. And just be careful with the power.
Yep.
All right?
Excellent. Thanks,
All
Joe.
right. All right, guys. We'll see you. You're welcome. Good night.
Night.